Yo, what's good my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned with yet another JJK Phantom Parade video. If you guys cannot tell by the thumbnail and by what's behind me right now, we are actually going to be going over team building in this game, which surprisingly enough, I feel like I haven't really seen anybody go over this. Team building is a lot more nuanced of a process because you usually have to build teams very specifically to each stage you are doing, and you need specific niche characters. But nonetheless, I am going to give my best attempt at going over team building tips. I was at work one day and I was just thinking about it, and I was just like, there are obviously the team building meta has shifted at least twice. I always say this: the first meta of the game was get a Gojo, put everybody that you can around that Gojo and bolster that Gojo like he is the mightiest tower in your settlement, right? So what does that mean? We have Gojo here, we have a buffer slash healer, but like she buffs as well. We have a buffer, we have a debuffer, we have another debuffer who also just kind of adds his secondary damage. We have another buffer in the back to pop out as soon as somebody dies. Like, that was the first meta. Just build around your Gojo. And now the meta has shifted, or not now the meta had eventually shifted to we had enough attackers that were good enough to go into different teams and be used in different varieties, and it was still about supporters, but it was more focused on the supporters, right? So we go from focusing on Gojo and bolstering him with everything that we can to Gojo maybe is not as important now. Rather, we would rather see the supporters more worked on, more taken care of, because the supporters are going to be more versatile. They're going to go across a bunch of different teams, and I guess this is more like the meta of units you were working on, but aren't you working on units to make powerful teams to beat events anyway, right? And then the meta has finally shifted now to where it's a very color is king type of meta, right? Where you can see right here, this team is like all green, and that's not a team, but you can see this team is all green for the most part except for Momo right here. I could have put green Momo in the back if I wanted to, so that when my buffer dropped in, it was still a green unit, but at the point that you're getting this unit to drop from the back, I'm pretty sure you're just trying to nuke with this Gojo anyway, so it's just kind of like little things that you do need to consider here and there. But I did notice that there were a lot of things that did kind of carry over from the original meta of team building to even right now in the game, and somebody actually commented under one of my latest videos and asked me to do a sort of guide or something like that because they were thinking about getting into the game, and I hope that this video is helpful for you just to give you an idea of what the landscape of grinding your characters is going to look like in this game. But chat, before we get into the video, I have a few numbers to throw at you. DEADMANVINCE has 877 subscribers. That number is 23 away from 900, and only 51.2 of you are not subscribed and 48.8% of you are subscribed. So I will be honest with you, I've seen a lot of videos where YouTubers do that little like stat right there. There's a lot of numbers I threw at you, and honestly I'm pretty proud of you guys because I'm actually very close to a 50-50 split of subscribed and not subscribed, versus I feel like a lot of other content creators, when I see their videos, no matter how big or how relative to my channel they are, usually I feel like they're not subscribed is in like the 70s at least, and their subscribers in the 30%. So thank you guys for keeping it evened out 50-50%. But the last interesting number I want to give you guys, if 100% of y'all in that 51% subscribe to my channel, the Deadman would certainly shoot over 900 subscribers. Very easy math, right? Guys, do you want to be somebody who finds DEADMANVINCE, or rather, do you want to be somebody who knew where DEADMANVINCE was and you found him at 900 before 900, and then you subscribe to him after 1 million, and then whenever you're like, I used to watch Deadman back in the day, and nobody fucking believes you because you were too scared to press the button now? Bro, we are a community. Do y'all not understand that my subscriber count is basically my badge of honor? That is what a YouTuber's subscriber count is. It's their badge of honor. Right now my badge of honor says 877 people watch my shit somewhat consistently and fuck with the stuff I say. But if my badge of honor were higher, that would be your fault. That makes it sound bad. You would be the reason for that badge of honor. So do something incredible today. Change the dead man's life. Hit that subscribe button. Boost that badge of honor. Because as soon as we hit 1,000, we hit 2,000, then 3,000, then 10,000, and so on and so on and so on. I'm not stopping. Muted myself by accident there. I'm not stopping until me and Nanogenics are shoulder to shoulder, you know, looking at each other, and everybody's like, yo, these two are Chads. How did these motherfuckers take over the entire gacha space? I don't know. It's just some random tangent, but we're going to go ahead and get into the team building. So guys, when you're forming your team, you usually want to have at least one buffer, one debuffer, maybe preferably even two buffers. That's what I usually like to go for. I usually like to go for like a comp with like, you know, Yaga and Nanami, Yaga and Momo, Yaga and, you know, whoever is buffing. I like to have two buffers usually. Just makes the damage feel a lot better, makes the missions go a lot faster. You want to have one main damage dealer. That's why I say these things carried over, because your one main damage dealer used to be a Gojo, and now there are a lot of very good options for damage dealers in the game. One main damage dealer, and then remember, general supports are way more versatile and you can use them on way more teams. They should be worked on first because it's going to make it easier for you to work on color specific supports. So let's go and look over some of those characters that I'm talking about, because I do have a list of units that I want to just say like, yo, always you should be working on these. So general buffers that you always want to make sure that you are working on, you're definitely going to work on Inumaki, because he has a skill that helps you boost your ultimate gauge very quickly, allows you to get your ultimates off very quickly, and once you start getting your hands on domain characters, by the way guys, domain expansion Gojo's banner is out right now until September the 4th. If you guys are thinking about getting into the game, right now is absolutely a time, because you can pick up that Gojo, you can pick up some of the other anniversary characters, which are very incredible supports. There's a lot of important things to pick up right now, but this is one of the characters right here. He's going to help you to be able to rush your characters' domains, ultimates, whatever, and he also doubles as having excellent damage reduction. And I've even used his stun in very early stages to make sure that enemies are not hitting me an extra little bit. Don't worry about this right here. This is like SP buffing stuff. Like, we're just talking about basics on the character right now. But Inumaki, you're definitely going to want to work on our Kaito, because he is a character who, one, has a buff skill that allows him to boost your cursed energy way more than it should be boosted per turn, like 19 if you get it maxed out. If you get his buff skill to max, then yes, it does boost your cursed energy by 19 for the turn. And if you stack this skill twice back to back, then he gives you 38 cursed energy for one of those turns as well. So you usually get 10 cursed energy per turn. New players who don't know, you usually get 10 cursed energy per turn on your characters. And there are even some bosses that can literally take away your cursed energy that you have been working so hard to save up. So having a character like Kaito, who is a rare character, easily accessible, you just got to work on one skill, this man can literally get you 4 times the cursed energy you usually get in one turn, just in case those enemies are trying to snatch your cursed energy away at a rapid rate. And not to mention, his ultimate right here gives everybody a 100, and it's only at level 8 for me, but a 115.15% curse technique increase to all allies other than himself for 3 turns. So after he does his buff for 3 turns, the jujutsu attacks on your team are going to be absolutely ridiculous. And not to mention, guys, like I said, this skill is only level 8 for me. I've only needed it at level 8 the entire time I have been playing this game. I have never ever been in a situation where I have used Kaito and I've been like, yo, that ultimate did not do enough for me. I needed to push those last 2 levels. Like, I've never been in that position. Level 8 has been more than enough for me. If you guys want to push it to level 10 to get even better results, obviously go for it. Free-to-play players are going to have a different experience than somebody who spends money in the game. Another character that you want to make sure you work on, Yaga. Oh my goodness, this man is the Dark King of the game. This man might be the king of curses for real in this game, because his buff is insane. This man gives you 45.81% physical technique increase to all allies for 4 turns, and curse technique of the same buff for 4 turns to all allies. This skill is a skill that you should be getting to level 10, and I'm going to be honest with you, Yaga is one of those characters, even though he's an SR, if you don't get him in your first like little reroll, you might want to restart your account, because like his buffing just makes everything so much drastically easier. It is insane. Now, if you don't get this Yaga and you get Nanami instead, I think you can still make it work. But you definitely want to get this Yaga and start working on him as fast as possible, because also his ultimate is going to be a debuff as well. And really, you only use his basic skill, his skill 2, and his ultimate, because you use his skill 2 to stack up cursed energy so you can use this buff skill again. You wouldn't even want to waste your cursed energy on this skill, because this skill costs 30 energy, whereas versus his buff skill costs him 20 energy. So literally his buff skill just does more for the team altogether, and also is just more efficient to use. And his ultimate deals range attack damage to enemies, and it gives them a debuff that makes them take increased damage taken by 41.65%. Only at level 7 though, not even at level 10, so just a very good unit. Again, you see how these supports are so good that even me, somebody who prioritizes maxing out every single character that I utilize all the time, which this is a character I use all the time, it's crazy that I have not had to boost his ultimate all the way to max level. Obviously his skill I boosted to level 10 because I wanted to, but I probably didn't even have to. Inumaki, his defense skill, that one I would say you probably do want to go ahead and just push up to level 10, just because with Inumaki's skill, not only does the damage reduction that he gives your team scale, but also the amount of cursed energy he gives your team as well scales whenever he does that skill. We have 1, 2, 3 more characters that I'm going to point out, and then literally I'll talk about other characters as we get to them because other characters are more color specific and they buff specific teams very excellently. Next character gonna be Nanami. Again, just another really good general supporting buffer SR character, easy to get. This skill right here increases his own damage dealt by 45.81%, but then increases all allies damage dealt by 34.44% for 4 turns. Very good buff again, and his ultimate does surprising damage for me every time I do it, and it also increases all allies damage dealt by 23.32%. So an additional damage dealt increase is always going to be excellent on his ultimate, and also if you give him the Recollection bit, perfect synchronization, which we will go over later, that one gives an additional 35% increase to damage dealt. So just a really good page to put on units that have ultimates that buff the entire team in general. Then you have SR Gakuganji. This man is an absolute menace. His skill 1 literally decreases the curse technique of enemies, which a lot of enemies attack you with curse technique, so that is already good. Just an innate built-in ability to help your team take more damage very easily. Then right here, alternate tuning state doesn't matter too much. This skill right here is the bread and butter. This skill right here is going to applies 34.8% physical technique damage taken increase to the enemies for 4 turns, and applies extra curse damage taken increase to them for 4 turns of the same percentage, 34.8%. You can put it in alternate tuning state, but that doesn't really matter. You see how crazy this debuff is though, right? This is literally just the inverse of Yaga's technique if you really think about it. Costs 5 more curse energy, so it's a little less efficient, but also instead of giving a physical jujutsu physical and jujutsu buff, instead he's going to give a physical and jujutsu debuff to the enemy team. So it's literally like the inverse of what Yaga is doing, but still very, very effective, works very well, and his ultimate can do some decent damage, but it's not nothing to write home about. He is an SR supporter character. Do not worry about buffing this too much, but it does also increase the damage dealt that enemy, actually, it gives allies. Yeah, no, it gives enemies damage dealt decrease for 2 turns. My bad. It's sometimes when it's 8 a.m., bro. Your mind is not ready to really work until it's 10 a.m. I learned that in school, bro. Then we got one more character, SR Kaito. And I'm sorry, guys, this is not a who you should work on video. This is a team building video. These just happen to be characters that you should work on for any team, because at any point you could be put in a position where you need one of these characters. And since these characters are SR and rare already, you might as well go ahead and have them worked on immediately. You might as well just have them worked on. Kaito's excellent because his skill 1 literally decreases the damage dealt that enemies do just on a skill 1. Mine's not even level 10, but it still does the job. This right here is a 33.24% curse technique damage taken decrease to all allies for 3 turns that you can continually stack. So this is only level 8. It goes up by 1.59%. So that means, I don't feel like doing math right now. That means we're over 35% damage reduction when this skill is absolutely maxed out. That's very excellent. And also his ultimate has a chance to stun. And even if you want to specify extra defensive capability on one specific person, applies attack nullification to target ally or allies for a total of 2 times in 3 turns, and 17.58% curse technique increase to them for 3 turns. So not only is it giving attack nullification to somebody, but it is also giving them extra damage as well, so they can set up for something off of that as well. But those are going to be some of the general SR characters that you absolutely do want to have worked on no matter what. Literally anything that you do, one of those characters is more than likely going to be on your team to some degree. I did not go over all of the SSR buffers because those guys are more dependent on if you do get them. Oh, I'm sorry, you can work on SR Momo as well, but SR Momo, it feels like SR Momo kind of falls off very early on, especially because her buff only can be stacked 1 time. It can't be stacked twice. So if it said 2 times in 2 turns, she would be somebody that I would consider working on. But maybe if you're struggling a little bit and you still need more help, then work on this Momo too, because not only does she have the buff, she also has a stun chance, an AoE stun chance, which is a little bit better than, you know, a single target stun chance, and she has another AoE stun chance on her ultimate. So maybe you can get lucky and get a stun out in there. But those are going to be for the characters that I would say you would absolutely want to work on. I can't even say Shoko anymore because now we have 2 Shokos that are SSR and they're just leagues better. But hey, bro, if you want to go for it, go for it. But that is it for my characters that you should absolutely work on, just in general, from a I want to build the most teams possible perspective. The next thing that we're going to go over is the positioning of these units. All right, guys, so this is just like a very basic team. So this is some very basic team structure type of deal, right? So as you can see here, I did exactly as I said. We have 2 buffers, we have a debuffer, we have an attacker, right? Now, one thing that I want you to notice is that my attacker is in the back and the other units are all ahead of him. Why is that? Because My attacker is the person who's going to be doing damage. So if I have any buffers or debuffers, I want all of their effects to happen before I actually get to my attacker. Cool. The reason why the debuffer is right in front of the attacker is because the debuffer affects the enemy side and buffers affect the ally side. So would you not want to affect the ally side and make them stronger in every instance before you affect the enemy side? The way that the chain of events go in this game is buffing goes first. Like literally, it doesn't matter what position they're in, but still, I just like to line it up this way so that you know, this turn, this turn, this turn, this turn. Because in the event that your buffing character is attacking, right? My buffing character is right here. Both of them have attack skills. If I have a unit like Kaito back here who has a buff ultimate, that means that if I use all 4 character ultimates here, because ultimates link amongst characters, 2 characters beside each other, first and second link, third and fourth link, right? If I use an ultimate and Kaito are right here instead, since Kaito's ultimate is a buff, that would mean that Kaito would buff Yuji first, they would do their chain ultimate together, and then afterwards, I would get a debuff on the enemy and a damage dealt increase on the enemy. That is why you always want anybody, whoever is buffing the most, goes up front. You can see here it says Yaga is a debuffer, but you don't ever use Yaga's debuffs, right? But in the instance that you were doing something with this team, right, instead you would want to do this. Because Kaito's ultimate is going to be buffing people in the front line. You want to put it beside this ultimate because this ultimate is also, this ultimate increases curse technique, this ultimate increases damage dealt, then Yaga's ultimate debuffs, right? That is the exact chain of command that you want right here. By doing this, these 2's ultimates are guaranteed. If you use all 4 characters, these 2 are guaranteed to go first. Or whoever Kaito is linked up with on the ultimate, they are guaranteed to do their ultimate first because there is a buff skill in play. That is why placement matters. Even though when you're doing regular skills and buffs go first, if you do ultimates, that buff is going to go first as well. So you want to make sure that the character that you want to buff everybody is always in front. Whoever gives the best team-wide amount of buffs in front, always, no questions asked, no hands down, and your attackers always stay in the back. This team also is kind of a fail because Kaito buffs curse technique and Yuji has no curse technique, so really you would have somebody like Gojo right here, right? But all this stuff is going to change depending on how the team is formatted, right? Because now all of a sudden, instead of having 2 buffers and then 1 debuffer, right? What say I want to have the 2 buffer, 1 debuffer, but I also want to have like some extra secondary damage or something like that. Okay, all of a sudden the team changes to something like this. Okay, so team, very different now. We have still our 2 front buffers, right? We still have our attacker in the back, but we still have a debuffer right here. The only difference from this debuffer is this debuffer actually has decent damage. So you have full-on debuffers, you have hybrid debuffers as well. Sometimes with a hybrid debuffer, if you feel like your main DPS is not going to do enough damage, then you can have this type of debuffer, right? He does debuff, yes, but his skills actually hit pretty hard comparative to Gakuganji, whose skills don't really hit hard at all. This man has a hard-hitting ultimate. This man can just deal actual damage with his kit, but it's still a debuffer, right? And they classify debuffers in different ways. They have interferers, they have debuffers, right? So what I say a debuffer is anybody who is attacking the enemy and giving them active debuffs while also doing damage to them. Because Red Yaga, SR Yaga was a debuffer, right? Versus these 2 are enhancers, but you notice when I had Gakuganji up here, he was an interferer. He does not do damage per se, but he is throwing out a really intense buff, right? The damage in this skill is super low, super duper low stat, right? But it is spread out to everybody on the team, and as a payoff, it does actually debuff everybody on the team to a very great extent, right? So interferers versus debuffers. But you can sometimes have the double buffer interfere setup, or if you don't think that your attacker is going to do enough damage, you can have the double buffer debuffer setup, right? I hope that wasn't too confusing. I hope that made sense. We're going to move on to the next step. Domain order matters. And while I talk about domain order, let's tell you some of the debuffers who you might not think are debuffers that are debuffers, right? Some debuffers that are debuffers. Definitely Megami. Megami is called an attacker, but he is a debuffer because whenever he goes inside of his domain, every time he does his skill 1, it increases the enemy's damage taken by 99.3%, and that stacks up to 3 times. So you can make the enemy take nearly an extra 300% damage. That is one of the craziest debuffs in the game. Megami cheeses the game so freaking hard these days, right? So he would be somebody that you would have in the debuffer slot. You're constantly going to want to buff him, of course. And the way that this will look is you buff up this entire time, you drop Megami's ultimate, his domain, you use his skill 1 3 times. And on the third turn that you use a skill 1, you're going to attack with your attacker because that is the most damage you're going to get. And even after the Megumi's domain is done, you're also still going to have the extra 2 stacks of 99.3% damage reduction, and then the turn after, and then the turn after, and then it's all going, right? But still, you're just building back up to Megumi's domain over again. Now, if you want a video specifically on how domains work and how you want to like compose those teams, that's a different thing, I feel like. But yes, another character that you would have right here who would be an excellent debuffer, who nobody expects to be a debuffer, or no new player would expect to be a debuffer, is Domain Expansion Gojo, because he is quite literally labeled as an attacker. His skills do good damage, but in all reality, man's a debuffer. If you use his ultimate, he provides the enemy with unlimited void stun, guaranteed hit to himself, unlimited void stun, unlimited void status for 4 turns, decreases ultimate count, can't gain ultimate count for 4 turns, applies 99.95% damage taken increase for 4 turns to all enemies. If he has extra counters, because in this game, Gojo has turn counters because he's so overpowered, every adult Gojo. If his turn counters run out, then he has to leave the battle. Basically, if Gojo has 6 turn counters left, he is giving an extra 25% damage dealt increase, or no, another 200% damage dealt increase to the enemies with his debuff. And if there's only 1 turn left for Gojo, then he's only giving 25% damage dealt increase. But yeah, just another character that you'll use for a debuffer right here. And the reason why I'm going over this is because I'm just trying to say domain orders cancel out. Domain order matters because domains cancel each other out, right? So say you had a team where your damage dealer had a domain, so Sukuna. Then you had, Gojo right here with his domain, and you also had Megumi, right? 3 domain characters. Domains all clash. Gojo or Sukuna's domain would destroy Megumi's domain, so you would not want to use them after Megumi. But Sukuna is your attacker, so you still need him in the back line, right? So here's what you would do. You would do something to this effect right here. Because Megumi can only build up his debuff once he's in his domain over 3 turns, Gojo's debuff lasts for 4 turns, which means that their turns are staggered perfectly together. So you would use Infinite Void, because Infinite Void does not persist after you use it. The domain pops, then it goes away, but the debuff stays. Then you do Megumi's domain. That domain stays. Over the 3 turns, you keep hitting with Megumi's skill. Cool. Then afterwards, when the domain's about to go away anyway, you use Sukuna's domain to get the most damage that you can absolutely get. Sorry, that was my chair. You can get the most damage that you would absolutely get, and you would have cycled through all of your domains perfectly, and your domains are starting to build back up again. Once somebody else's domain is activated and Megumi's domain is closed, or either or, whichever comes first, another domain activates or Megumi's domain closes. Once that happens, Megumi can start building his ultimate all over again, and Gojo, you're gonna want to do that even furthermore. Gojo's a little bit harder to cheese on that because Gojo's domain doesn't persist anyway. He's just cooked for building his domain again after he does it. But what else is there? Let's see. Domain order matters. Infinite Void always goes first amongst domains in offensive settings. The reason why I say in offensive settings, by the way, that's what I was just kind of explaining just now to you guys, is if you were in a more defensive setting, and I'll put a team together to kind of explain what I mean. So guys, this is a very specific composition that I remember having to use a very long time ago, but it did get the job done. This is why I say that Infinite Void always goes first for the domain in offensive settings, because sometimes you're going to be doing more defensive, I need to stall this out settings, right? And basically the way that this team works is Kaito consistently provides cursed energy to the team. Inumaki constantly provides damage reduction and ultimate gauge to the team. What you would do is pop Hanami's domain, which gives everybody damage dealt decrease to all enemies for 4 turns, right? That would automatically make the enemies weaker. Not to mention Inumaki's damage reduction will be stacked on top of it, right? Then you hit that Mahito domain, and you do 15% of the enemy's HP. And then once you do Mahito's domain, Hanami's domain is reset because you've done it under the domain. Then you instantly just start building back up to this domain once again, and you're still inside of Mahito's domain also while that's going on. So literally, this is one of those kind of like defensive, stally type of teams where you can quite literally all you have to do is get 7 Mahito ultimates with this team comp, because Mahito takes 15% of the enemy's HP, and as long as the enemy is not healing, the first 6 times he does his ultimate, that's 90% of the enemy's HP, which means they only have 10% left, which means they are absolutely gone after that. Not to mention that there's going to be a little bit of damage dealt to the enemy during those extra turns, but it's still going to be 7 ultimates with Mahito. So sometimes you got to do them really stally, annoying comps, and you got to be careful with those too, because once enemies go to a certain turn counter, they start to do ridiculous damage. But I think that's enough talk about domains and everything. And guys, I wanted to do this team building video, but maybe there does need to be a part 2 where I actually go in and do like functional team testing and stuff, because like I'm basically trying to prescribe to you that there are 4 different team styles: the double buffer 1D buffer attacker, the stally comp, the backline carry, which is like a team that will look something like Mahito being in the backline and then somebody else being right here in the front line, and then you want somebody to die in the front line, and after somebody in the front line dies, then Mahito comes out after you actually use a good damage dealer to do damage, and then Mahito cleans up the rest of the HP, right? There's a lot of different compositions that you guys can do, but let's see. Recollection bits. Pay attention to recollection bits. Super duper important. Some recollection bits are better than others. And by some, I mean that like there are some that you're going to use all the time, and then there are going to be gallows of recollection bits that absolutely do not matter. But one thing that you need to pay attention to with your recollection bits is, are you putting on a recollection bit that boosts damage dealt, curse technique, or physical technique? Yuji, physical character, has no curse technique whatsoever in the game. We all know he has curse technique if we read the manga. But no curse technique. Honestly, we all know where he has curse technique if we watch the anime, because he literally encases his fist in curse technique. But still, anyway, Yuji, right? He's a physical DPS character, so you would put on any page that has physical DPS boosted to it. How would you tell that? Literally, click on the page, hold the page. This symbol means physical taijutsu. I just know that now from playing the game so much. But you can see right here. Not only does it tell you it boosts his physical technique, pay attention to the fact that it can only be used on ultimate, so it is specifically meant to make his ultimate hit harder. This cannot be used on any skill besides the ultimate. But yes, you're going to look for physical skills. Recollection bits that have 6 turn cooldowns are usually the best ones that you can find. There are some more support-oriented ones that are a little bit better, but this recollection bit also has auto skill. So guys, this skill right here is always going to be the active ability that you get when you use a recollection bit. Then this one right here is always going to be the passive ability that happens as you wear the recollection bit. And for the instance, every time you get a crit, so if I use this on Yuji, every time he gets a crit, he gets 200 ultimate gauge to himself, only available 1 time during the turn. So he can't get 3 crits because Yuji has an ability where he can attack twice in 1 turn. So if he does 2 different hits and they both crits, he only gets, ooh, that was bars. He only gets 200 curse energy, not 400. So you can't tease it out like that. But you will also notice that this recollection bit gives a pretty solid boost to physical technique as well. And those are just some of the things that you want to pay attention to. I'm not going to go over the best recollection bits of all time for every single character because it literally is a case-by-case basis. But when you're looking at your recollection bits and putting them into your characters, you want to make sure that you're actually clicking on this and reading this all the way through, clicking on this, reading it all the way through, looking at your stats on it as well, because also the stats that this give also kind of give you an idea of what kind of character this works for. Obviously, this is for a Jujutsu character because this boosts curse technique and doesn't boost physical technique at all in the main stat, right? This can sometimes give you a little hint right here. All right, guys, I just put a random team together real quick, and I just put some recollection bits on, and I'll just give you the thought process for the recollection bits, just to kind of give you guys the kind of analysis that you want, right? Okay, cool. Kaito is a character who buffs cursed energy, and on his ultimate gives a buff to his allies. It's cursed technique, right? So since he already is all around buffing, I'm going to give him a recollection bit called Perfect Synchronization that gives all allies an extra 35% damage dealt, right? So that whenever I do my ultimates on certain turns, I'm get really big turns out. But this also boosts his ultimate gauge by 200 when the battle starts. So I'm building to his ultimate really fast, and I'm basically guaranteeing that by the time I have everybody else's ultimate, I have his ultimate, which is indefinitely going to buff everybody, right? Then we have Inumaki right here. Inumaki has on a recollection bit called Imaginary Youth. Why is that? Because the skill that Inumaki has that gives everybody extra damage reduction and boosts everybody's curse energy costs 30 curse energy, which if you have a skill that costs 20 curse energy, that's kind of like the really nice standard for buffer characters. You have a skill that costs 20 curse energy, you can pretty much spam it the first 2 times if you go into battle. If you have them with 2 dupes, you can spam it the first 2 times you go into battle, and then by the time the 3rd turn comes around, you've already recovered enough curse energy to do it a 3rd time. So 20 curse energy is a sweet spot for buff skills. Inumaki is 30 curse energy, right? They had to cut him back somehow because he's a rare character. He can't be absolutely excellent in every regard. So what do? You give him this bit right here. Every time you use this bit, it recovers 20 curse energy for himself, and he can use this every 4 turns. You see, I just said some recollection bits are better for supports and they have lower cooldowns, right? This right here recovers his curse energy by 20, and it recovers it every 4 turns, or it can be used every 4 turns, right? This was just like a random balanced recollection bit. We're not even worried about the extra effect. Basically, what that means is when I go into battle, Inumaki is going to start at 45 curse energy. I'm going to use that recollection bit turn 1, use this skill right here, lose 30 curse energy, and then when the next turn starts, I'll be able to use this skill again, which you usually wouldn't be able to do that with Inumaki. So being able to double stack how much is it? 43% damage reduction to all allies in 2 turns. Like, being able to double stack that at the start of the fight is insane. And getting an extra 428 buff, 428 boost to your ultimate gauge is insane, right? Then what recollection bit do I have on Megami? I have a recollection bit that is going to allow me to rush his ultimate gauge. This rushes his ultimate gauge by 360 points when you use it, and it can be used again after 4 turns, right? You want to continually use this recollection bit until you have used Megami's domain, and then once you're in his domain, you wait until he can start charging his ultimate again, and then you start using his recollection bit again, right? So that is why that's there. Yuji has this bit, even though I just looked at that other bit that gives extra, you know, physical technique when you do your ultimate. Really, with Yuji, you want to get the damage after his ultimate, because after Yuji's ultimate, he can do 2 attacks in 1 turn. So what do? Use a skill page or a recollection bit that gives him extra physical technique for 2 turns, right? So you would ult, and you can't use this on the ultimate anyway. So you would ult with Yuji, then on his 2 turns afterwards, where he has 2 attacks, you would use this recollection bit. You're gonna get 4 turns worth of damage basically, because he's doing 2 turns and 2 actions in 1 turn. And even if he gets low HP before he's ready to start going crazy with the damage, that man can get an evasion 1 time in the battle if his health goes below 50% HP. But you can see here just very specific thought processes whenever I was picking these recollection bits out. That is why I can't just give you a general list of like all the recollection bits that would just work for any character all the time, because it's not a true thing in this game. There are a general list of recollection bits that are always going to be top of the list, top of the board, but they don't always necessarily work exactly the same for all of the different characters in the game. And also, Mahito's recollection bit is just another recollection bit that boosts the ultimate. If I could put the first one that was on Megami on Mahito, I would, because that one boosts the ultimate faster. But this is kind of like a last resort. Like, okay, somebody in the front line has died. Now we really got to get to work, right? And I still need to rush ultimate. And this recollection bit right here is free also. Maybe I do a video on how to get all the free recollection bits, I don't know, or teams that you could use, like free to play teams maybe. But what else do I have in the topic of team building? You eventually want to get to a point where you have at least 1 taijutsu and 1 jujutsu damage dealer of every single color, because the tower floors, that is the hardest content in the game right now, and the tower floors are going to require you to sometimes use a ranged DPS or a melee DPS. So let me go through my list of at least 1 attacker in every color that everybody should be able to get their hands on, or would maybe hopefully have their hands on. So guys, characters that you always want to summon for are going to be Gojo characters, and this Gojo I would not depend on as a damage dealer, because you're mainly using his domain. I mean, you can use him as a damage dealer. After you use his domain, you use these skills right here. His damage is pretty good, but like still, he's usually thought of more as a debuffer, and he does not stay in the fight permanently. He leaves after 9 turns. He gets an extra turn back every time he uses ultimate, which is nice, but still, his time in battle is very limited. So let's go through some, you know, let's go blue first. Blue, my top jujutsu DPS is going to be Sukuna. Sukuna is going to rerun during this celebration during the 3rd part, so even though you don't have him right now and he is a limited character, you will have a chance to get him at the end of the celebration. So again, guys, please join the game now. My man who asked me that said, yo, I'm thinking about playing this, could you make a guide video or something like that? This isn't really like a top 10 tips and tricks guide, but like, this is team building. This is most of the game right here. Team building and perfecting your units to work on all of these different stages, because I'll be honest with you, bro, there is no end all be all team like in Dokkan or in Grand Cross. I can just swipe everything away, right? It's going to be a specific team every time. Sukuna, my top blue damage DPS. If you cannot get your hands on Sukuna, if you're not lucky enough to summon him, there is a free-to-play option in, where is he? Jogo probably, I can't front of you. Jogo is not even comparable to Sukuna, even at A5, but I'll be real, he is a free-to-play option. He got an SP buff, so he has improved a great deal from his SP buff, and he has a lot of DOT as well, like Sukuna does. The only difference between him and Sukuna is, Sukuna's DOT is called Laceration, which is basically bleed, and the more that the enemy is bleeding, the stronger the next bleed hits. Whereas Jogo doesn't have some continual, like, oh, the more flames that the enemy has, the more damage the next flame does. None of that stuff, right? But anything that has that little flame icon on it is going to be giving some flame DOT, so that's really good that he's able to stack DOT, a very crazy deal. But he will be a solid free-to-play option, but again, he requires a lot of investment, so if you really wanted a blue DPS, you probably want to just go with Blue Gojo. He is somebody you can pick up for free at the start of the game. He's got the nukes for a lot of early stuff in the game. Like literally day 1 of the game, you were supposed to pick this man up basically. So even though there is another Gojo that can replace him completely, and completely eclipses him, this Gojo will someday get an SP buff. He will someday gain some relevance back again, because now we are in a color-centric type of color-centric era, and not necessarily just the general good units era, right? But this will probably be your best bet for free-to-play, realistically, this Gojo right here, just because you can pick him up for free from the selector ticket when you first start your account. Melee DPS for blue. I have not been in too many situations where I've had to do the melee, you know, damage missions, but I do have Blue Nanami here. And all these options aren't going to be free to play, by the way, chat. But Blue Nanami and where is he? Blue Yuji. Both of these characters are actually on the standard banner, so you have a random chance of picking them up. That's going to be for the physical DPS on the blue side, just to give you guys some ideas of units that if you get them, not to say, you know, hunt these units down, but like if you get this unit, yes, this is an important unit that you should start working on now, no matter how early you get them, no matter how far you are from later content. Obviously, prioritize your units and work on who you need to work on at the moment. But everybody always gets to that point where they work on every character who is carrying their account, and they're just like, okay, who do I want to work on? You should want to work on units who are going to help you beat harder content later on, and that are going to give your account more versatility, so that whenever you're in a mission and you're looking up guides on how to beat a stage, right? Say you don't have Sukuna, say you don't have Jogo, say you don't have Gojo, right? Okay, there's a guide out there that does have Blue Yuji. All right, I'm still chilling, right? You want to diversify your roster as much as you can. And the reason why I'm going just mainly over DPS is, again, because buffers in this game are a lot more versatile. Buffers in this game just last a really freaking long time, so it's like you don't really have to worry too much about it. Let's look at red now. Best red DPS is gonna be probably Nobara here. Straight up DPS-ery, probably Red Nobara. She has a mechanic that makes her skill 3 work similar to Sukuna's skill 3, where she can get it stronger than it actually is, because usually it costs 25 cursed energy, but now she can stack it to she can use 50 cursed energy and stack her nails to a certain number and get really big damage out. Yeah, 50 cursed energy, 40 cursed energy, 25 cursed energy, whereas Sukuna's is 20 cursed energy, 40 cursed energy, 90 cursed energy, right? Sukuna's obviously hits a lot harder, but her shit still goes crazy. Probably the best red DPS. Physical DPS, Red Yuji, still an absolute freaking menace. But I gotta go ahead and give my boy props, because I just got him recently. Toji, bro. Toji is on GOAT mode. This man literally has multiple skills that rip away buffs. Ignores damage taken decrease effect, removes one removable buff on the target, prioritizing the most recent one, lowers crit resistance. Like, this man is insane, because he is a, oh my gosh, I just thought about it. I feel like I saw a teaser. I think I saw a spoiler for Zombie Toji in the game, unless somebody just made a fake graphic. I don't know, but if Zombie Toji's in the game, that boy is about to terrorize the game in a whole new way, bro. But yes, this man rips debuffs off at every moment. This man is really tanky. I have this weird premonition that physical technique characters just last a lot longer than curse technique characters in the game. But yes, Toji is going to be like your #1 right now, bro. Toji is going to be #1 red, but if you don't have him, Red Yuji is a very competent replacement option. Let's move over to green. Your best green physical DPS, probably Yuji right here. And Yuji is a very easy, very accessible from the day one start of the game character, so you will definitely get your hand on him at some point. He has an SP buff that makes him hit really freaking hard, and since he is an early day one character, he is very easy to get. You can honestly though, since there are Gojos that can replace Gojo in the game now, I would maybe even say you can pick up this Yuji with your selector ticket. I don't know. I feel like you're gonna struggle a lot more to get a green DPS than a blue DPS at this point. I mean, are you not summoning for Sukuna? They just improved Kamo. We got Gato, who's not around right now, but I mean, there's options. How many green physical DPSs do you have besides Sakidendo, who is on the, I don't have her, by the way, chat, so I can't show you her, but she is on the standard banner though, so there's a chance of getting her at any moment, but I do not have her for certain. I think somebody more guaranteed would probably be like Yuji, because you can pick him up at the start of the game. And also, we have the wish list thing going on. If you guys don't know what the wish list is, every single month they ask us to pick, where is it? I forgot how to get there. Every single month they ask us to pick a recollection bit or a character. I chose a recollection bit because I already had all the characters and all the recollection bits in the list, and recollection bits are able to be traded for more currency, for more summons. you can pick up characters from this too, and the characters are usually from that general pool of characters I'm talking about. So like one of these very basic start of the game characters that I'm talking about, you will probably be able to get from the wish list selection. Anyway, you just have to wait for that first month to get them, and honestly, if you summon them before the month is over, that's just a bigger GG to you, because you just have dupes now, which is going to give them more starting curse energy, which is going to give them more wiggle room later on. Green Jujutsu DPS, either this Gojo here or this Gojo here, who is part of the anniversary right now. As a free-to-play player, you should have a pretty decent amount of real estate to summon up and get these characters. And then also, this Mechamaru is a very good green DPS as well. He's a little bit more nuanced on how you get him, because right now he is not on the standard banner. He is also not a banner that's out right now. He will not be added to the standard banner for a while, so you would have to get this man on a rerun. So forget about all of that. Just again, showing you characters. If you got them, it's just like, okay, yes, I can work on them. This Maki is a debuffer. I forgot about her. She's a debuffer for green specifically, so she's green specific. That's why I didn't bring her up. But nonetheless, she does still have solid damage. She's a crazy break unit. I think one of her skills gives her 300% break damage. Applies 266.73% break damage increase to self for one time, and applies 90.04% crit rate increase to all allies. Increases crit rate to herself for 3 turns. I'm very interested in using her, actually. I think she's going to be another very solid green DPS, but I'm not 100% sure yet because I haven't really utilized her. I have her leveled up. I have her skills worked on a little bit. I like to give my characters a little bit. Guys, don't adopt this habit, by the way. This habit eats your materials. I like to get a character and just go ahead and instantly start boosting them up a little bit, to go ahead and just get them ready for whenever I do want to work on them, so I can go ahead and just, you know, be halfway there already, right? I don't want to start working on this character from level 1. I don't want to start working on the skills from level 1. I want to be halfway there so that I don't need as much materials as I think I do when I start working on them. And also, chat, just a little extra resource to help you get your hands on these characters a little bit faster. There is something in the game, I don't even know what it's called, but if you come to this little trophy right here in the bottom corner right here above where it says formation, this little trophy right here is kind of like, it's not your, I don't call it your achievements, because it's your data overview. There we go. This entire page right here is your data overview. It'll show you your most used recollection bits. It'll show you your most used characters, which is insane because I haven't used this recollection bit in ages, but it shows you all your, you know, account information, right? Then if you come right here to enhance character, you will see that, okay, for right now, everybody who has Shoko, this dude's Shoko is the strongest Shoko in the game. I'm not even ranked yet, even though my Shoko is S rank. That goes to show you how many people have just like a stronger Shoko than me, right? But if you look right here on the bottom corner, there's a present box. You click that present box, you can literally get rewards. Oh, I forgot I did that. So boom, perfect example. You can get rewards for working on these characters. Right now, the green Shoko is the latest like premium banner that's out right now, right? So last time I checked this page, I had her at least 5,000 CP. Now she is at 9,000 or plus CP, right? So now I can get the 300 cubes right here. I'm just showing you guys this because this is an extra resource that can help you get more characters. As you summon these characters, because not all the characters in this list are new characters. Some of them are older characters, right? As you get these characters in the list, you're going to be able to work on them. You're going to be able to come here. You're going to be able to pick up 380 cubes per character as you're getting them to 9,000 CP or higher, right? So I'm going to go ahead and claim these cubes, get my 300 cubes real quick. Very solid. Boom. And these right here, guys, you need 10 of these to make one chaotic Jujutsu crystal, which is what you need to level up your skills in the really high levels, right? So all around, I'm working on characters and they're literally feeding me back materials to summon more characters and also giving me materials to boost the skills on my characters. So you can see it's a very intuitive system. I just wish they would add every single character into the game into it. But if you guys are getting lucky in your summons along the way, you can use that as an extra little like kind of like thing to help you get more characters that you want to be picking up. Let's see, we've already gone over blue, green, red, yellow. Best yellow physical DPS is UG, hands down. There is no questions about that shit. But he's a premium unit. I don't know if his banner's still out. Is it? No, his banner is all gone. So basically, during the celebrations, it seems like they do like the phases, right? And as they do the phases, they'll release a banner beside it. So the phase 1 banner that had the banner beside it was Yuji's banner. Yuji's banner is already gone. The phase 1 banner, since this is specifically for this banner, this celebration, right? This banner is staying until the absolute end of the celebration. All the secondary banners, though, are not staying to the end of the celebration. So this one is staying until September 4th. This one is staying until September 4th. And this one by chance is staying until September 4th, but this one has a brand new recollection bit on it. So I guess that's why. And the recollection bit is quite literally related to to the hidden inventory arc. That is probably the only reason why this banner is staying out until the 4th, right? If Sukuna's banner comes back and it has a recollection bit that is related to the hidden inventory event, then it's probably staying until the 4th as well. Honestly, Sukuna's banner is probably staying until the 4th anyway, just because it's the last banner to come out and it's going to be the last part of the celebration. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be Nanami's banner comes, then right after Sukuna's banner comes, then Gojo's banner won't leave, but Sukuna's banner will come, and then Sukuna's banner will be like the shortest banner in the entire celebration, but nonetheless, you still have an opportunity to get him. But yes, now let's go back over to our yellow characters. Yuji's banner is not there though. That was the point of us going over there to check. Yuji's banner is not there. Second best physical DPS for yellow is going to be Nanami right here. He is a standard banner unit, and he could have a SP coming up soon. Who freaking knows? But I think he is a very competent character. He has a really good mechanic around black flashes, and when you do black flashes, you just do a fuck ton more damage. Megami is one of the best yellow characters in the game, if not the best one of the best debuffers in the game, obviously besides Gojo. But I already explained how his mechanic works with doing his domain and then, you know, doing this skill right here. Though his damage may not be as menacing as you want, it can still be crazy once you get the domain up, because then any skill you do, like literally if you use this one time after his domain is up, enemies just taking 100% extra damage basically. At that point, anybody looks like a good DPS, bro. But to give you somebody who's more of a DPS straight up and not setting up. Ooh, yellow Megumi's. Oh wait, duh, up here, Gojo, yellow Gojo, and this Gojo is on the standard banner right here, guys. And also another resource that you can use to pick up these characters for team building. If you come over to the shop right here, exchange shop, as you summon, you're going to get characters, and as you get copies of characters that you do not need anymore. Did I buy this month? I did. As you get more copies of characters that you do not need, right, you're going to be able to come down to right here to the soul shard shop, and you can see that a copy of a character costs 250 soul shards. You cannot buy your first copy of a character from this shop. You have to summon the character in the first place. But this right here has every single standard banner character in the game. And guys, just to make sure that I could get every character A5, because I already know I'm going to get way more summon currency in the future when I do summons at the next big celebration, right? Because I already have all these other characters A5, so I'm just going to have a lot of units to trade out. Rare characters give you 1 point. I think SR characters give you 5 points, and then SSR characters give you 25 points. So literally it's by multiples of 5. 1 is not a multiple of 5, but 1 times 5 gives you 5 points from SRs. 5 times 5 gives you 25 points on SSRs, right? But we continue to cook here. You can see I have all these characters already like maxed out, and then any character that I do not have at all is quite literally just right here. So I just do not own Sakirendo from the basic banner, from the standard banner, right? But guys, this is a very good resource right here for you to come in and to get the extra duplicates on your characters if you feel like they're not strong enough just yet, and you can bolster those DPSs to make sure that they're good in any situation. Because one of the things that kind of helps me to know if I'm going to do well in a mission, or if the mission is going to take longer or be faster for me, is whenever I'm going into the mission, I pay attention to their team exactly. I build it the exact same way, but I look at all of the duplicate numbers, and I'm like, okay, if my dupes are higher, that means that I'm going to be able to start off following what they do, and then eventually I'm going to be able to just have wiggle room to just do my own thing, because my units are probably going to burn through it faster, right? Or if my units are weaker, then I know I need to pay very close, very strict attention to the video and go turn by turn, and I know that it's going to be a little bit more of an RNG fest. But yes, do not forget to use this shop right here to pick up copies of your characters, guys. Okay, after talking about all the units that you want to like use for certain teams, like units you want to have worked on, or units you want to look for, also guys, Megami is a good damage dealer as well. Just another option that you can have if you do stumble upon him by chance. But we're not even going to talk about SP today. That's a whole another thing. What I will say though is that the only game modes that team building really matters is either this is going to be game mode number 1 where team building matters, Curse Sweep Battle, because this is not a game mode where you are just going in it and trying to win it to get cubes. This is a game mode where you go in it and you are trying to get as far as you can and beat it all the way. And if your team is not strong enough, you don't beat it all the way, you're going to be missing out on materials. And if you miss out on extra materials over the turn, basically you do this, you try to get all the way up to level 10, and you can see as you go up in the ranks here, the rewards just get better and better. So if you are not capable of getting up to these high levels, you're going to be missing out on a lot of really good materials to SP buff your characters. And over, you know, the first week, it doesn't seem like that much, but over months of doing SP battle, and you get to do it 6 times a week or 4 times a week for free, over months of doing it, you not getting these higher levels is definitely going to start to show, because you're still going to have characters that are not fully worked on, or you're gonna get new characters that you want to work on, but you're gonna be like, dang, I still gotta work on this character from back then, and then you're gonna have to start relegating new characters to like, okay, I'll work on you next week, I'll do this next week, right? No, you want to have the team that's gonna be strong enough to destroy this game mode, and this is just one of those game modes where team building really matters. Another game mode where team building really matters, the illusory tower. The illusory tower does not matter in the first few floors, but then once you get to the really high floors, oh my gosh, once you get to, I would say that up to floor 60, up to floor 20 is going to be very easy for players starting out. Once you get to like floor 21, you're probably going to start looking up teams because the CP is going to get really high and the mechanics are going to get really specific. But another reason why you want to look up teams for this game mode is because some of these stages, let's see, not 76, but 75, I think. Some of these stages have secret stages, and the secret stages, literally all you have to do is build your team with a specific character on the team. Sometimes most of the time, the character doesn't even have to interact with the enemies. You can literally put him in the back line if you wanted to, but you have to have that character on the team, and you unlock extra stages that give you 300 cubes and, you know, random little extra rewards like this, right? But secret stages are very good because it's just like these stages are really hard. In the secret stage, you literally go in, you fight one little boss, one little mob enemy. Bro has, it doesn't even show you how much health bro has. That's how small bro's health is. Like it doesn't really matter. But yes, you can see right here, I had to use Nobara on floor 65 to unlock this stage. I literally used Nobara in the back line. She did not touch the battlefield. She did not see the light of day in that fight. But team building matters in that regard as well. Extra rewards, and because the stages are getting harder. Now guys, if you come to the main story here and you beat story missions, there are going to be some story missions called EX missions, right? EX overview. So you can see these are EX quests. Pretty much what an EX quest is, after you do the story mission, you go back and you can do a harder version of the story mission, and it gives you extra rewards. The reason why these story missions are still not complete for me is because the missions that I beat gave me my cubes and I did my summons. These will be very nice to pick up to work on more character skills, which I'm going to pick up at some point, obviously, but these missions just matter for team building so you can get all of these rewards, because for me, it doesn't matter to me, you know. I can come back and get these rewards whenever I feel like it. I have such an influx of the rewards coming in other places, it doesn't matter to me. But like for a free-to-play player who's trying to get everything that they can from every single angle, you definitely need to be making sure you're team building properly for these. And then the last stage that you want to make sure you team build properly for, so you guys see the events right here, and you can see we have a Formidable Battle Imaginary Realm event. These events specifically are not hard. If you go into the Formidable Battle itself and you go up these stages, team building really doesn't matter. Just be type advantage for the most part and you're good, right? If you use green, strong characters, you will win this top stage easily. I can auto battle this stage, bro. Whenever I'm farming extra rewards from this, oh, I didn't finish farming this. Wait a minute, chat, I'm lacking. I got something to leave auto battling when I go to work today. But when I farm this, right, I farm usually on very hard too. This does not matter too much in the team building department. What does matter is the SP battle right here, because the SP battle, pretty much you have to put on so much extra requirements to make the battle harder that you get up to 24 points. And each extra thing that you add on, let's see, you can see right here, you know, this, you can see right here, right? If I click the one that says +1, it only adds one more extra point. If I click the thing that says +3, it adds 3 extra points. Very simple how it works. There's interference things, there's assistance things, but if you do the assistance things, you are automatically set to 1. You cannot go any higher than that if you use assistance, because that means that you're a baby bitch. But basically, to get to 24 points, yeah, you're gonna need very specific team builds to be able to wipe the enemies. Basically, I always get my strats for these from Rain, right? Rain is gonna be a very strong resource for you guys as you're looking at these videos. My last point that I was even gonna say in the video, so one point is, don't forget to use your friend units. That's just one little quick point. You see, I come right here. I can't use a friend unit right now because I've already done all my friend attempts for the day. But typically, there is a choose a friend option right here. And you want to use your friends every day, because every time you use a friend, it gives you 10 friend points. And it just gives you points that build up into one of those exchange shops that you can use to buy important stuff later on. But the last real tip that I want to say is, bro, please do not forget to use YouTube as a resource. Use resource like it is the Bible. I'm gonna go ahead and give you just like 4 channel names right now, because I don't get into the nitty gritty and do every single one of these stages. I'm the hype man. I might be the nanogenics of this game, right? I do not go in and make the ultimate strategy guides. I go in and do my summons and bring that energy and get everybody hyped up and shit. I am shooting aiming for 1 million subscribers. I am on that Nano train, bro. I've watched Nano for years, and this man is an entertainer. This man may not be the Dokkan encyclopedia. I kind of be on encyclopedia mode, but like, nah. I give that man some terrain. That boy is goated. But I'll give you 4 channels for if you want to look for any stages that you ever need to beat. And an extra tip. 4 channels that you need to look at if you're ever looking for stages to beat. 7 Rain, Lord Slug, Anbu, Anime Anbu, and OG Spitfire. Those 4 channel names are the ones that ring in my mind the most whenever I am looking for stages to defeat something. But I will give you guys one little extra tip. If you ever look up a global player and you do not have any of the units that they have, there is but one last tiny little option that you can do. Alright guys, you can see here that I looked up Illusory Tower Floor 68. Oh, and look at that. 2 of the 2 options that popped up immediately. And their videos are the shortest ones, which means they have won the fastest. Rain, Anime Anbu. Exactly as I just said. There are obviously more people here, but those are the videos that I usually watch. Those are usually most comparable to my account. Red Panda does them free-to-play guides. But you can see right here that I found these videos, but I can't front of you. Okay, let's see. Floor 68... 468 with A3 Toji minimum guide. It's very specific. 468 with Mei Mei. Who has Mei Mei? 468 with Red Nobara. A little closer for me. Floor 68. You can see the full team on the thumbnail. Very excellent placement. Okay, once I get past that, you can see thumbnails like, oh, this is based on luck. This isn't even for Floor 68. This is for Floor 68 as well, but what's the difference here? Red Yuji team instead. So again, Anime Anbu, literally multiple team guys. Oh, YJ Max is goated as well. But this isn't Floor 68. This is 460. This is 461. Oh, okay. So when I start running out of options, what do I do to try to find more options for teams that I can do when all the teams that I've seen do not work for me? Guys, the global version of the game is being pushed so much harder than the Japanese version. That means what? That means that whenever these missions came out in the Japanese version, the Japanese players had much less resources to work with than we did. So the Japanese players would have back in the time period when these things were added, would have a much better chance of having teams for you than global players, right? So what do? I go to translate. I translate my search into Japanese. Then I copy it and come back to YouTube, right? Then I paste it in. Now all of a sudden this says JJK Phantom Parade Illusory Tower Floor 68 in Japanese, and watch what happens. Okay, this video is for 468. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's 66. Hey, bro. Hey, bro, I got... Wait, 68? Does he use Toji? Oh, he used the Recollection bit on 468. This is literally just a video of somebody testing it out on 468. Like, bro, you just got 8 different videos for 468 for real. Let's see, is this 468 too? Now you gotta pay a little closer attention, obviously, because everybody here cannot read kanji, but this is 468 as well. You see how much more results are popping up when I put it in Japanese? And you're even seeing, like, you know, you're seeing teams with newer units, you're seeing videos with older units, but you can see how much more stuff has popped out now that I have typed in everything in Japanese. So guys, again, do not forget to use YouTube as a training or as a learning resource for every single stage. I don't care if every single stage that you are stuck on, you need to YouTube each one by one and watch them turn by turn. Hey bro, if you get the dub, the dead man is never going to hate on you. But guys, that's going to be it for my video. I took so much longer with this than I thought, but that means that I was just more thoughtful about it and I cared, right? But if you guys did enjoy the video and this was helpful to you, go down below and hit that subscribe, man. We're at 877. We are looking to get to 900. I can't front of you. I am hoping that by the time I upload this video, because I have to go to work right now, I'm hoping by the time I upload this video, I'm beyond 877, and that's not even true anymore. But hey bro, we'll see how it goes. You guys have an excellent day. The dead man does love you, and I really do hope that you succeed in here. And guys, we're getting close to that, what I'm calling the sync celebration, even though they say they're not syncing the game, but we're getting close to a very closely staggered celebration. So be prepared, because a lot of the stuff that we see in JP might be stuff that we see in global at the same time or very close. So then all of a sudden, this strategy of looking up videos on the Japanese player base might not work anymore, because the content is going to be a lot closer. Or it still could work, because Japanese players have just had to be built up doing different things, so they just have different practices that they have installed within them. But guys, that's it for the video. The dead man does love you. Peace out.